On this Earth Day, we're looking at sustainable choices you and your family can make to help keep waste out of landfills, waterways, and the Great Lakes. NanBop Farm Director Andrea Bushry has some simple sustainability tips.
Hey guys, I'm your Farm Director Andrea Bushry, and I'm going to talk about different Earth Day hacks today. So the first hack that I have for you guys is to swap out your plastic bags for reusable bags or even paper bags. The biggest trick I have with this, I often myself will forget these bags, so I actually like to buy a bunch of them and have some in my car with me or wherever I am going, so that if I forget them in my house, they're in my car so that I'm still using them. These canvas bags are really good for farmers market hauls. Oftentimes farmers are also selling them at the market, so this is a good thing to hold like all of your carrots and things like that. This one here is a freezer bag, so if you took this to the store, this is going to keep a lot of your cold items more cold versus this bag here that's a little bit more thin and it's not insulated, so it's more for your non-perishable items. The other thing that I have is to easily swap out your plastic water bottles for a reusable water bottle. Again, just the thoughts with this is that obviously, we're still going to use things that are made out of plastic, but we're trying to minimize the amount of plastic or non-reusable or recyclable products. So again, this may be made out of plastic. These may be made out of plastic or have plastic on them, but the point is to reuse them more than one single-use item. Our other option is to save our food scraps. So something as simple as having a 5-gallon bucket with a little bit of sawdust in the bottom, and that's where you can put a lot of your food scraps. That's something that you can do and be able to start your own compost pile or be able to talk with your local farmers or gardeners and be able to contribute to their compost pile. I like to put sawdust in the bottom so that it absorbs some of the juices or smells, so it's not quite as smelly. Also, if you're a coffee drinker, adding a lot of coffee grounds as you're using them also keeps the stench down. Our other option is to use something called drip tape in your gardens. So this is something that slowly drips out water. So it has little emitters in it that slowly drizzle water so that you're not using as much water. So if we're using this on the farm, usually I only have to run this for 20 minutes to maybe even an hour. Hour is usually the high end of it if the things are really, really dry. And so this is something that's really helpful because it sits right at the bottom of your plants, right at the root zone. So it's going directly where the water needs to go. And you don't have to run it quite as long. So that's something that's super helpful with gardening. These are just a couple tips and tricks to be able to minimize some of your waste on the environment. Again, the point is to use a lot less single-use plastics and try to use more reusable sources. So check us out more on 9 and 10 News for more tips and tricks about Earth Day hacks.
A lot of good ideas, and if you're interested in starting a compost bin at home, here's some quick tips for you. When you're picking your scraps, avoid meat, fish, bones, dairy, or anything that's oily. If you want to use up bones and meat, consider freezing them and making soup or making stock for soup. Things that compost well are fruits and vegetables, potato skins, tea and coffee grounds, eggshells, and even old flowers. Store those food scraps in a bin, preferably outdoors, and mix your kitchen scraps with browns like dry leaves, twigs, or even shredded cardboard. You want at least twice as much browns by volume than food scraps. Once it's set up, aerate your mixture frequently to help it decompose. And all of today's Earth Stories are proudly sponsored by the Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy.